Good evening, friends. Myself, Dr. Nidhi Darbari, on My Education Treasure, and today I am going to explain the fluency in questioning skill, defective questions, and the factors. Albert Einstein has rightly said that learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. The important thing is to not stop questioning. The ability to ask and answer question is central to learning. In ancient times, give and take process of knowledge happened to take place through questioning, that is, gurus educated the students through questioning, and students also used to remove their doubts through questioning. Socrates organized the unorganized knowledge of the people only through questioning. Pestalozzi expressed the opinion that the Socratic method is very important. In the modern age, despite so much of scientific and technological progress, there is no decrease in the significance of the questioning in the classroom teaching learning process. Rather, it has increased as an urgent necessity. Research suggests that a teacher asks over 400 questions a day. Only within the last decade and a half, however, has extensive research been directed to questions and questioning strategies. However, research has found that many teachers wait only for 0.9 seconds before seeking an answer. Developing questioning approach requires greater emphasis on the time provided for students to think individually, collaboratively, and deeply. A question is any statement which has an interrogative form or function. The use of questioning skill in a systematic manner is important for interactive investigation in any subject. Classroom questions should be evaluated and analyzed since questioning is an important teacher behavior. However, using questions to assist students' investigation is a relatively new technique in the schools. In the past, teachers primarily questioned students to ascertain whether or not they were learning the book content and to see if students were paying attention in class. This shift in emphasis from learning solely content to learning process is to enable individuals to deal intelligently with their world and their lives. Education today aims at the creation of a rational being. A rational being does not merely possess an effective memory, she must be able to react to data. She must be able to think, and she must be active in seeking and understanding to problems. Questions should play a central role in the learning process. Because of this, teachers need to plan our questions carefully. This doesn't mean script writing. That would negate creative teaching. However, it does mean teachers need to carefully plan questions by thinking through possible questions which would guide the students towards further investigation and a deeper understanding of the concept being stressed. If a teacher utilizes questions effectively, students will discover that the question is a very valuable learning tool. It is a device through which they can organize their thinking to achieve certain objectives. Bossing has rightly remarked on this accent that no teaching method can be successfully carried out without taking cognizance to the art of questioning. Defective questions. The effectiveness of question depends on their use. The echo question. An echo question repeats part of the phrase that the student used using voice inflection to convert it to a question. Some people call it mirroring or reflecting. Others call it parroting. When the question on the stated material are asked immediately after making the statement, then such questions are termed as echo questions. Such questions are considered useless. Its reason is that such questions fail to activate the thinking, memory, and logic power of the students. Therefore, the teacher should not ask students these echo questions. These tend to give away answers. For example, first of all, the teacher tells the student that Taj Mahal was built by Shah Jahan. Then immediately a question is asked that by whom was Taj Mahal built? Next one is the yes and no type question. Yes and no type questions are also known as two answer type questions. The students answer such questions on the basis of guess and without any thinking. This fails to arouse their curiosity and they don't get opportunity to ascertain their view by thinking at their own. This spoils classroom discipline. Almost all the students sometimes say yes and sometimes say no. Therefore, the teacher should not make use of yes and no type of questions. But if he is forced to ask such questions, he should immediately ask the cases of yes or no so that their mental process may get awakened and they may present their viewpoint. For example, do you know who is our Prime Minister? Was Akbar a great administrator? Elliptical questions. In such questions, students complete the sentence by telling the last word. The mental process of the student does not get any encouragement from elliptical questions, hence the teacher should not ask such questions. These questions require completion and are vague questions. In elliptical questions, the last word of the sentence remains hidden, such as Bhopal is MP dash. What's that? Your name is dash. A noun is a dash. Delhi is the capital of dash. Teacher speaks incomplete sentences. Many words are omitted. Language is grammatically wrong. Corroborative questions. The corroborative questions are also known as accepting questions. In the end of such questions, the teacher confirms his statement from the student by saying, is it correct or would it be right? Neither the confirmation of the teacher's statement from the student is appropriate, nor it is very sure whether the students even thought deeply while answering. In short, corroborative questions hampers the thought process of the students, hence the teacher should avoid asking such questions. Rhetorical questions. The rhetorical question is usually defined as any question asked for a purpose other than to obtain the information the question asks. A rhetorical question is a figure of speech in the form of a question posed for its persuasive effect without the expectation of a reply. Rhetorical questions encourage the students to think about what the answer to the question must be. They are for namesake questions. The thinking and reasoning power of the students cannot be developed with these questions. Rhetorical questions are asked during teaching as a challenge to put emphasis on certain points. Such questions using ornamental language make the statement effective, but the students are not made mentally active. The purpose of the teacher is not to get answer from his students. For example, don't you think it is a complex problem? But this can be solved in different ways. Isn't it a horrible scene in the picture? Surely even elders will be afraid to look at it. Students get confused whether they have to reply or not. Suggestive questions. The suggestive questions are those questions which suggest students regarding the answer. Such questions carry the answer too. Students are not benefited by asking suggestive questions as they do not think for a moment. Teachers teaches concept or sub-concept and immediately ask questions from the same portion. For example, India is a democratic nation. It has many states. Delhi is the capital of India. Now tell me, what is the capital of India? Student is asked to repeat the fact immediately after it is told. It does not develop any thinking because they reproduce the facts. Indefinite, ambiguous and irrelevant question. Indefinite questions are those which make the student confused while answering. Ambiguous questions are those which arouse doubts in the minds of the students. Irrelevant questions are those which are not related to the subject. The student cannot respond clearly to these three types of questions. Such questions are considered as defective. Questions requiring more than one answer or guessing. There are some questions which require more than one answer, such as how and when India became free. Such questions are considered as defective. The teacher should ask such questions after bifurcating it. Factors in questioning. Asking question is natural and intuitive. Every person is not an expert in asking questions. Though the biggest fool can ask an unanswerable question, the questions asked in the class must have educative value. The difficulty of this method lies in the asking of appropriate questions. It is no less than an art which is acquired through continuous practice. The teacher must remember the following points while asking questions. Number 1. Seriousness. Questions should always be asked seriously. Laughing, showing anger, or smiling when asking questions is inappropriate. Attracting attention. Questions should be asked to arrest the student's attention. Proper frequency. The frequency of questions should be so managed that they should not be too far apart in order to avoid disinterested nor so close together as to give the students no time to think at all. Proper interval. The interval between questions can be determined by the complexity of subject matter and the intelligence of the students. Proper distribution. There should be equal distribution of the question in the class. The next factor is balanced questions. The teacher should follow the principle of variety while asking question. Ask both simple and exacting questions, factual and thought-provoking questions, so that the poorer students may participate and the brighter students may be extended. The questions should be clearly stated. The teacher should not use unnecessary sentences before or after the questioning, such as who will tell. No repetition. The teacher should be conscious about the unnecessary repetition of the questions. Neither too simple nor too complex. The content of the question should be according to the knowledge and intelligence level of the student, neither too simple nor too difficult. If the questions are too simple, they will not require any mental effort, while difficult questions will cause excessive strain on the student's mental ability. Varied form and language. The form and language of the question should be varied in order to bring in variety and avoid monotony and disinterest. Collective thinking. Even if the question has been satisfactorily answered by the first student, the teacher must continue to ask same questions to the other student so that all the aspects are clarified by the thinking of all the students. Encouragement. The question should be accompanied by repeated comments which encourage the students to answer the question and build up their confidence. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you to please give a like to my video to motivate me, share it with others and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. The next factor in questioning is proper language and subject matter. The language and subject matter of the question should be determined beforehand. If the teacher repeats the same question in different words, it creates the impression that either the teacher has no self-confidence or that he has made no preparation. This also develops the understanding in the minds of the students that the teacher has asked some other question. And the last factor is teacher's behavior. While asking question, the teacher should behave affectionately and sympathetically with the students. He should avoid random movements and ask the questions standing amidst the students. The teacher should remember the names of the students of the class. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video and don't forget to subscribe.